Wake up, Jacob, Israelite prepper. This video is going to talk about how to tell your family that you are in polygyny, whether you're female, male, doesn't matter. How to break it to them. And I think I got like 3 pointers, 3 tips. Now, it may not work for everybody, but I do want to at least offer something up, okay? And I was actually, I was talking to my wife or whatever, and she wanted to, put a little info out there. It's a tip as well, but I want to give you 3 tips. 1, lead time. 2, introducing the person. And 3, boundaries. Now let me talk about each of them real quick. Now, lead time. What I mean by lead time is that if you are in a place where you're actually thinking about this, thinking about, polygyny is probably an option that you're going to do, whether you're male or female. What I mean by lead time is that don't tell them because there's a person on the horizon. Don't tell them just because there's someone that you're interested in. Okay, give some lead time. Just when you're just thinking about it, and there is no one. There's no one. There's no husband you're thinking about joining yourself onto. There's no additional wife you're thinking about joining yourself onto. Give them some lead time. The reason I say that is because if you're just thinking about it, and you say, hey, you know what, one day I may do that, then when you do find someone, could be 6 months later, could be 8 months later, could be a year later, right? The reason for that is because if you wait until there's someone, then, for instance, if you're female, they're going to be thinking that, oh, well, this person convinced you of doing it, right? You're only thinking about this because this person, you're interested in Mr. XYZ, and he convinced you that this is a good idea. But if you have a lot of lead time and there's nobody before you, standing in front of you, waiting in the wings kind of thing, then you say, well, I told you about this particular lifestyle 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago. There was nobody, you see? So that pretty much eliminates that particular, objection, right? So lead time. If you're thinking about, now I know some of you guys, it's too late for that. These tips don't work for everybody because everyone's situation is a little bit different. Okay, so I'm not addressing if you already have someone in mind right now. For right now, lead time, if there's no one in mind. The next tip would be lead with the person, okay? So you're not going to say, here, this is John Smith, the conservative, Republican, Presbyterian. You don't lead with all that. Let the person get to know the person, the actual person. You don't want to say, this is, Caleb, and he's the polygynous, okay? Because right then and there, they're already looking at this person from a particular lens, a biased lens, okay? Let them get to know the person. And I'm not saying you don't tell them eventually. Of course you tell them, but let them get to know the person because they already have some prejudices, some biases, and they already have these preconceived notions in their mind, and they're going to be looking at that person through that particular lens, right? So you don't want them to look at them through, you want that person to have a fair shot. And the only way they're gonna get a fair shot if you don't give them some ammo in the beginning, and just label them as whatever. So remember, as soon as you label someone, they're gonna have a preconceived idea, and that's how they're gonna view that person. So you don't want to lead and say, hey, here's Frank the polygynous. You don't want to do that. You don't want to say, here's Mary, my sister wife. Let them get to know the person first, because that's not their identity. Okay, that's not their identity. So let them see the actual person. And 3, boundaries. As with anything in family, we have to set boundaries. Oftentimes we don't. Our families are able to say to us whatever they want, do to us whatever they want, treat us any kind of way because we don't set boundaries. Now an example is like, in my own life, I was dating someone, and this is long time ago, but and my mother was still alive at the time. She's not alive, but it was a long time ago. And I was bringing my wife okay, at the time. Yeah, I think she was my wife at the time. And I guess my mom wasn't particularly fond of her. And so she would say things that were that I found disrespectful. Now, of course, I'm going to honor and respect my mother. However, at the time, of course, that upset me. Just like I would defend my wife from anybody, okay? From anybody, I had to do it with my own mother. But in a respectful way, I said, listen, Mom, this is my wife. This is the person I want to be with, that I'm going to be with. And if you continue to mistreat her or be disrespectful, I'm not coming around. You won't see me. I'm not coming around. And so from that day forward, she stopped throwing little jabs or snide remarks at my wife at the time. So boundaries. So the same thing applies when you start to talk to the family and say, hey, listen, I'm going to be in a polygynous relationship. It's like this. Look, you may not approve of everything that your family members do. Okay, you know of things that that they have done, or their demons or their skeletons or whatever, right? They know yours, you know theirs or whatever. But here's the thing: you can tell them, hey, I may not agree with every decision you make or everything that you do, but I support that because it's your decision and it's what that's what you want to do. So I'm just going to support you just like that. I would expect the same thing. Okay, this may not be for you, but you can't say this is not for me. Okay, and remember, as a bonus, you never know from what perspective they're going to be coming from. Are they going to be coming from a biblical perspective? Some people might. Okay, are they going to come from a social or cultural perspective? Some people might. You never know. But the bottom line is that at the end of the day, you just get to the bottom of it. Okay, you may want to get to the bottom of it, or you may not even want to talk about it at all. Okay, if that's the kind of relationship dynamic you have with your family, then you may not even want to talk about it at all. I'm just like, okay, look, I'm just going to do what I do, and that's it. I mean, there's families out there where you have an uncle, right, and then he has a wife, and then he has a mistress or something like that, and nobody in the family says anything. She's the mysterious aunt or something, right? But nobody says anything. Everyone knows, but no one says anything. So that may be the case. Or you may have a family that's very, very opinionated. Again, you got to set those boundaries. Because what happens is that we want so bad the approval of our loved ones, and sometimes it's not forthcoming. So you set the boundaries and you let them know, hey, listen, I may not like what you do. I may not like the decisions that you make, but they're your decisions and you're the one who got to live with them. This is my decision. You don't have to live with my decision. So I don't want this to be too long. I just wanted to kind of give some kind of tips and stuff out there. I hope it edifies you guys. I do. I said I want, these little blogs to be, positive and helpful and edifying. So, and I hope it is just that. But those are my thoughts as far as how to break it to your family, that you may be polygynous. But hey, we all have some ideas and we all have some tips. So I want to hear your thoughts. Put it in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Israelite Prepper. See you on the next video.